Hey guys, what's going on? It's the voice of Nightmares speaking, and I'm welcoming you to the second episode of Red Dead Redemption 2 Deadly Encounters, the YouTube show where we talk everything about Red Dead Redemption 2 in terms of the random encounters and all the creepy mysteries and deadly people that you meet aside. Now, what ended up happening in this episode right here is that a couple of weeks ago, I was wandering around. I believe the name of the place is, and please correct me if I'm wrong at this point, but I believe it's called South Plain Fields. If that's not the name of it, I'll correct myself when I actually upload this. Now, I was running around this place, and it was actually during the daytime, and what ended up happening was I had a bunch of bounty hunters that were really hot on my trail because I had just robbed somebody and brutally shot them. And not only that, but I also had a bounty level that was almost up to about $1,000. Now, if you've never played Red Dead Redemption 2 in your life, the higher bounty you have, the more bounty hunters will actually chase you in these fields outside of towns, and you get these bounty levels on top of your head every single time you commit a crime in whatever area that you're actually located in. It could be Blackwater, it could be Valentine, Raspberry, or whatever they're called. And essentially, the more of these you get, the lower honor you receive with it. Now, honor is a very interesting subject because basically what that is that's your version of good and evil. Now, all that aside, this is what ended up happening. It's during the day, I'm running away from these guys, and I ended up in a strange looking cabin. It was like a little farm outside. It had a cornfield, a scarecrow, some pigs running around. So I decided to go up to this place. Now, what ended up happening was I needed the place to hide, and I was looking for a place to loot so I can steal stuff and just figure out the area. Well, I went inside this place, and there was something very, very, very wrong about it. I'm not going to get into details. I'd rather show you, but it took me quite a long time to leave the place because the bounty hunters were directly outside and they were circling around the place trying to look for me. So I knew for a fact that if I walked out the front door, I was getting shot regardless. Like, there was no way possible out of this. So what I had to do was I had to sit there for about an hour, wait for a time that these guys were going to disappear, and I had to get out of there. And there was like literally 20 enemies that were circling this little barn yard that I was in. So what ended up happening after that when I left is I got chased. I tried to hit they called it the share menu on the PS4. I tried to actually save my footage, but what ended up happening was I hit the circle button instead and I closed it, meaning I couldn't save anything. So what I decided to do is I wanted to come back at a later time and check a few things out, get a little bit of a clearancy just in case if I missed anything. Now, when I got back there, it was during the night, and how this ended up happening was I was doing a mission during the day, and we had to go to a certain spot, which was a barn, and we had to wait till nightfall in order for this to begin. And when that happened, things went to hell, didn't go so well. We completed it, but then I had to start running because the bounty hunters were on my ass again. As a matter of fact, all of the video footage that you guys have been watching so far is the exact encounter that I had with the bounty hunters when I was running away from them. Now, as I was running away, I had to go find another place to hide because they were pursuing me relentlessly. So, lo and behold, I accidentally came past the cabin again. And I was thinking, okay, great, I'll just go in here. And this time, I was able to save everything. And I want to show you guys this encounter that I had. So, here it is.
Jesus.
Okay, so you can see why I was a little choked the first time that I saw this. You come into this abandoned cabin and you think you're all alone, and then you just turn around and you see these two dead bodies. Now, I say two because there's actually one on the bed and one on the floor. I decided to take these two pictures with my phone because I want to get a close-up on the two dead bodies so I can examine exactly what happened here. Well, if we take a look at the one on the floor, you can definitely tell that there was a bit of a scruffle. Somebody had grabbed something and he was probably trying to defend himself. The bodies went everywhere, meaning people were pushing each other into a bunch of stuff, as you can clearly see through all the smashed things on the floor and all the footprints lying everywhere. And the second one on the bed appears to have been sort of standing back as if they were afraid. Now, I'm assuming that this is a husband and wife scenario because, well, let's take a look at them. One's female, one's male. And from what it looks like the woman on the bed was the one who died first. Now, I only say this because she's not backed up against the wall. Her body hasn't been moved in any way, shape, or form. She's literally lying down on the bed with the wound inflicted into her. Now, what I'm assuming what may have happened was maybe she was sleeping and the husband was sitting down getting ready to get something to eat. And whoever came in through the door, waved around whatever weapon that they had. Obviously a gun, but I don't know which type of gun yet. And decided to open fire on the wife first. Now, obviously what ended up happening next was the husband got up, got into survival mode, and tried to fight off the intruder, probably tried to kill them in some way, who knows. Sadly, he did not win that battle, and he wound it up with a wound, which I'm assuming is in his chest. Now, What ended up happening next was I decided to leave the place, and I wanted to wait till daytime so that I can come back with better lighting sources, because it was way too goddamn dark to see anything even with the lamp. And I wanted to get my bearings right because I really wanted to figure out exactly what went on here. So after beating a drunk guy to death, for whatever reason I decided to do that for, I don't remember, it doesn't matter. I got on my horse and I came right back to the scene and I inspected it once more. When I went inside, I started looking around to figure out what the hell happened here, and I used my inspection senses, or my detective senses, whatever you call it. And I started looking around. I started looting up the place a little bit. And mind you, I had stolen like most of the stuff within the cabin, or the barn at this point, I should be calling it, beforehand. So there wasn't very much to take. However, I eventually just started noticing that there was blood right by where the door was. So while using some of my senses, I decided to venture outside and see what I can look for. While I was doing so, I found a bit of a blood trail that led to the side of the barn. I kept running and I kept using my senses to follow it until eventually I figured out where it was that it was leading towards. And when I hit my senses for the last time, I saw that there was something glowing, and I'm like, oh, was the first thought that came to mind when I saw the woman there. Now, I decided to pick up this little letter that she had, and I read it, and here's what it says. Annette, I did not want to write this letter. I thought I had been clear at the stable, and clear again, when you waited for me outside the general. Harriet was still inside. She still could have seen you. It's a miracle she did not. Now, I know I made promises to you, and I know the time we had was good, but Harriet is my wife. And if she's willing to give me another chance, I need to give her and myself that opportunity. I cannot know you any longer. Please stop looking for me in town. Please stop leaving me packages at the post office. Please, for the love of God, please do not approach Harriet. I do care about you, but I cannot have you in my life anymore. Leave me and my family alone. Signed, Claude. Wow, so that letter pretty much answers a lot of questions and sums up this whole mystery. Claude had been cheating on his wife Harriet with the lovely Annette here for quite some time. Now, Harriet at some point had figured out exactly what Claude was doing and demanded that he stop or she'd leave him. So Claude, being a married man, wanted to keep his wife happy, and in order to do so, he had to cancel his relationship with Annette. So what ended up happening was Annette was basically the type of person who wouldn't take no for an answer. And when he wrote that letter and she received it, she probably got pissed off to the point where she's like, I'm going down there. We're going to settle this right here and right now. And then she decided to take their lives. Now, obviously, she wasn't thinking about this, because if you took a look at the body right now, she pretty much took her own life after going outside, realizing that she just killed the man that she loved and ended his wife's life at the same time. And, well, you pretty much get the picture. Now, that's not where our story ends. So what ended up happening was I wanted to come back and I wanted to take the picture just to get, the thumbnail for this actual video. Wasn't 100% happy with the scarecrow, so I decided to go inside, and well, lo and behold, there was nothing there. Now, before I say goodbye, I would like to say that this is the last episode that I'll be doing without a script because I want my stuff to look good and sound good, and in order for me to do that, I should probably write this down so that I don't have to take long breaths every 5 seconds and then constantly re-go over everything and then record something that I've already recorded just because it didn't sound right. And not only that, I also want to be able to have much better words to use and then where I don't constantly repeat myself and do what I just did there. So, this is your favorite voice of nightmares speaking, and I'm saying good night and good nightmares. That was a terrible line, which is probably further proof that I need a script. Goodbye.